Oh my God.
Oh my
Hi.
God.
Oh my
Hi.
God.
We've
Hi.
got a treat today. A treat. I don't think people realize what a treat this is about to be.
No, and I know I'm biased because she is my auntie, but today we have on the podcast Mary Woodard, who
AKA Mimi.
AKA Mimi, we call her throughout the episode because that's what I call her. Mary Woodard, AKA Mimi, has been a librarian for my entire life. She was a librarian in the public school system here in Texas for 35 years. She then went on to be the president of the Texas Library Association. And she's also my dad's sister.
And I don't think you people realize that librarians are gangsters. They are so
Hundi
badass.
P.
I
Yeah.
mean, I have 25 years of experience with librarians because of book tour, and nobody treats authors better. They show you a good time when you're on book tour, and they
Oh,
are
yeah.
fighters, they're gangsters, they're fighting the good fight. You're going to learn about a hack that I would bet my life not one of you has ever heard of how to get through airport security if you forgot your ID. This is coming straight from a gangster librarian.
It's so
So,
real.
yeah.
She's incredible. We dive into all sorts of topics today, just how she became a librarian, the way that libraries are such sanctuaries for so many of us. And then we
And
go
books.
into and we talk a lot about banned books. We talk a lot about banned books and what's going on in Texas and nationwide with book bans and how we can fight back, how we can make a difference, because this is a really important issue to us, I know for sure. And I hope that it's an important issue to the GLUs. So we talk a lot about that. We talk about the effects of book talk on the modern reader and how we're consuming books in 2025 thanks to
Mhm.
TikTok. And then we kind of did a whole rapid fire of Mimi's favorites, her favorite books, her favorite authors, the best book that she read in 2025. She's dropping Rex for the GLUs
Mhm.
exclusively. And it was just a fabulous interview. I love her so much. And she's so
Yeah.
smart and interesting and funny and has such a strong point of view on everything. And I'm so lucky that she's my auntie.
Yeah. She's mine now too. I've
She's
taken over.
And
Yeah.
after all of you listen to this, she will be all of your auntie as well.
She's
She's
amazing.
just the greatest. So please enjoy this episode of Oh My God featuring my Aunt Mimi, Mary Woodard.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
My God.
Oh my God.
Let's get into it.
Oh my God.
This is a very exciting episode today because we have Mary Woodard on the podcast, also known as Mimi. Not your legal name, but it is your legal name as far as I'm concerned. So Mimi is my aunt, my dad's sister, and you have lived such an extraordinary life. We were talking about you last night during dinner, and Mimi really is the OG influencer for me. So, absolutely true. You are a tastemaker. You are the most cultured person I know, definitely the most cultured person in our family. So, Mimi was a huge theater goer when we were kids, introduced us to theater and Broadway. And we were talking about this last night. Like, I remember getting in your car when we were little, and you had this giant book of CDs. Do you remember those books, Lisi? Like the pages
Yes, I do.
with the
Pride, when
CDs?
you had the thick book
Yes.
versus the
And
thinny.
and back in the day, which this sounds so wild, but the only way that you could get Broadway cast albums was by going to the show and buying the CD at the merch counter. And so the only access that we had to theater and Broadway was your car. Like honestly, because all of the CDs, it was like a portal to the theater world. And so we would just listen to like Thoroughly Modern Millie and Les Mis and Rent and like all of those shows in your car. And of course, what we're really going to talk about today is your love of reading. And you have introduced me to every good book that I've ever read from age 0 to now. Absolutely true. I like to think that I'm kind of a book hipster, especially in high school, because I knew about everything that was coming out before everybody else. So, like, I read The Hunger Games and Twilight before any of those bitches because
Brag.
you told me that they were so good.
Yeah.
And so I read them all. Totally. You are so ahead of the curve always. So welcome to the podcast. I just needed to like rant and rave about you for a minute.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I guess we'll start. Just talk a little bit about yourself, your personal love for reading and books, and how you became a librarian. So, you were a librarian for how many years? You're retired now?
I'm retired now. I was a school librarian for 35 years, the last 20 of which I was director of library services in a school district where we had 50 campuses, and there was a librarian on every campus. And so I supervised those people and also supervise the purchasing and the processing of all of the materials for all of those libraries. 37,000 students in that district.
That's incredible. Librarians are so much like Canadians in a way. As a Canadian, I feel like I get so polite. Like, I just have this memory. So I would go to ALA, the library conferences every year to promote my books. And they, like, wouldn't there be like drink tickets, like coupons for librarians to get cocktails? And they would just like form a single file line, as opposed to the savages that like every other person is like 4 deep at the bar, like suffocating the bartender. It's so Canadian, the like one by one, we'll all just wait our turn for our cocktails. I love it. It's such a memory I have.
No, they're the best of them. Like, truly, they're the best of them.
The best.
So,
We are very polite.
The best hosts on book tour. I mean, the best times I've had on book tour and best hosts and the ones that really rolled out the red carpet were always the librarians. No offense, but never the booksellers. You guys crushed it.
Because, you know, the authors are our rock stars. They, you know, we're like so into the authors. So, of course, we're going to roll out the red carpet.
Absolutely. So and it's so funny because I was thinking about, you know, this interview last night, and Dad and I were talking about it at dinner and all that. And I was thinking about this, and I can't believe I've never asked you this in my 31 years of knowing you. Why did you want to become a librarian? Like, what, how did that even happen?
I hear a little judgment in your voice, Ellen.
No, it's not judgment. It's just like, you've just always been, as far as I'm concerned. So I've never even asked why you've always been. So what made you really want to go into that field?
You know, most people, they say they love to read. You know, of course, a librarian would love to read. That's kind of, you know, that's the go-to. My answer is a little bit different. I grew up under the influence of the ultimate lifelong learner. You know, my mom.
Oh my gosh,
was the ultimate lifelong learner. I've never met anyone who valued learning more. She never went to college, and so she taught herself whatever it was she needed to know. We made, you know, regular visits to the library as children. The newspaper was always read every day in our home. I never met anyone who was so curious and asked so many questions.
Oh my God.
And when she got internet access, I mean,
forget
you would not believe.
Lisi, this woman was chained to her desk. Like, she was.
That's incredible.
All she did was
researching
constantly.
Everything.
She knew
so funny.
She knew everything about everything. It was the craziest thing. And but she was extraordinarily, I mean, brilliant. We called her grandmother. Can you even? So,
grandmother.
Well, it's so funny because my dad always, shout out Ken Gottlieb, my dad always said, if you do not want to go to college, I will pay you every year. Just go sit in the library and read every day, and you will learn 10 times more than you will ever learn in college. I should have taken that deal. I did not. But to your point, like, everything you need to know is there.
Right.
And now the internet is like the digital library,
exactly.
sadly.
So that is how, I mean, I came to believe that knowing how to read and access and use information is like the ultimate success in life. You know, we all need to know how to teach ourselves throughout life. You know, once we get out of school, there are still things to learn, and we need to know how to teach ourselves those things. And as a school librarian, that's what we do, is we teach kids not only to enjoy reading, but to read to learn. And so that's my purpose as a school librarian, to help everyone understand how to read and think critically about what they read and use that information to make an informed decision about things in their life. So that's why.
But like, I want to know, were you 18 years old and like going to Baylor, shout out Baylor University in Waco, Texas. Were you going to Baylor and just going, I'm going to be a librarian? Like, did you know?
No, not at that point. You know, that was in the 80s. And we were all like, you know, we've got to make as much money as we can. You've got to have a degree that helps you make a lot of money. And so, but I was like, oh my gosh, all my friends were doing like accounting and marketing, and I was like, kill me now. I cannot think of anything worse than that.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't know what to do. And so I decided that I was going to be a teacher. And so I started working on my degree in education. And one of the classes that we took, of course, was children's literature.
Ugh.
And when I took that class, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
would love to be a librarian and teach kids in the library. You know, I wanted to be a teacher, but I never really wanted to teach in the classroom. I wanted to teach in the library. And so I talked to my children's literature professor about that, and she said, oh, well, what you need to do if you want to be a school librarian is you need to get your degree and your teaching certification, and then you go on and you get a master's in library science, and then you can work in a school as a school librarian.
Oh my gosh. And that's what you
what I
did for many
Such
years.
sanctuaries. I mean, I remember libraries
Yeah.
as being just the smell of it, the silence of it, the naughtiness of it, because if you wanted to do anything, like it was so
You have to be
like
quiet.
it was almost like a church or a synagogue. Like you felt like
Yeah.
there was this omniscient thing watching you, even, you know, the books they could see. And it was just such a magical place. And is it like that still, like out on the street?
Well,
What's happening with them now?
yeah. Well, it's not really quiet anymore because part of what we do is we teach kids to collaborate. And so there's a lot of talking that goes on in there. That's because that's one of the ways that people process information is by talking about it. And so we do a lot of activities where there's a lot of talking and moving around and
Interesting.
you know, making things. We look at the library now kind of as instead of a grocery store, like where you would go and you would get all the information you need and then take it home. What we do now, the library now, is more like a kitchen where you have all of these ingredients where you can, you know, you have the books and the resources, but you've also got technology that you can make things with. And so you take all that information and what you've learned, and you, in the library, you can learn to communicate it to other people online, or you can make something with it. And so, yeah, it's a really active place that where kids are
Right.
just doing a lot of different things.
It's so inspiring to think that everything you could need to be the best at anything is right there in this place. And it's how you approach it and how you process it that could lead to this tremendous success. I remember I had a professor at Emerson College, a writing professor, and on the first day he held up a dictionary and he said the best novel in the world is in this dictionary, and it's just how you arrange the words that will determine how good your novel is. And I always
I love
found
that.
that to be so inspiring, and that just reminds me of what you were saying about everything is right there. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to cook it? How are you going to use these ingredients?
Right. I love that. So you did that for many, many years. And then when did your involvement with TLA, the Texas Library Association, begin?
From the very beginning, you know, that was one thing I learned in graduate school is that if you are a member of a profession, which librarian is a profession like a doctor or a lawyer, you join your professional association because that's where you get your support from. And so ever since I started working as a librarian, I've been a member of TLA. And just as the years went on, I did more volunteering and got involved in actual committee work and then governance and things like that. So I ended up serving as president of TLA in 2023.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was the year of the Governor Abbott and the Texas House Bill 900, according to
Someone did their homework.
Someone did. Yeah,
No, I
someone
did. I just knew that. That's off the top of the head stuff for me right there.
Yeah,
Totally.
So that is interesting that did dovetail with this monumental event in history.
Well, and actually, you know, I was president-elect the year before, and it actually started I was hearing from colleagues around the state, you know, where they were having people come to their school board meetings in certain areas and read these passages that sound very shocking, very explicit, that they say, this book is in the library. And they made it sound like it was shelved, you know, right next to the Very Hungry Caterpillar or something. And it was, you know, and it's in a high school where they have 18-year-olds, but, you know, that's neither here or there. The very first thing that happened in my district, and this happened all over the state, my superintendent, I will never forget this. One night, we're just finishing dinner, and I, you know, check my email as one does after dinner. There's an email from my superintendent who I don't get a lot of emails from my superintendent. He has a lot of other things to do, but he forwards this email to me from Matt Krause, who is a Texas legislator, and it has an attachment on there, and it is, it's got the state of Texas seal on it, and it says that he is opening an investigation into school library content. And he has attached a list of 816 books.
Oh my God.
And he wants to know if, first of all, if we have any of these books, and secondly, how much we spent on these books if we have them. So he wants to know how much money we spent. And then I'll read this here. Please identify any other books or content that contain material that might make students feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress because of their race or sex.
Right there.
Yeah, it just made my blood run cold. I mean, I had
Every
images
therapist just got booked, triple booked.
Yeah, but like McCarthy, I'm like,
yeah,
this is the government asking what materials we have in a library. That is just so outside my frame of reference and experience. It was just horrific.
I mean, obviously, but it is so subjective. I mean, one person's trauma is another person's connection. How would you even define that? How do you do that?
No.
It's the whole point of art. It's literally the whole point.
But now the point is, don't let me feel anything. Art is to numb me. I want to feel nothing.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Okay, so all of this happens while you're president of TLA. The term book ban is something that's thrown around all the time, and I hear it all the time. I've seen crazy headlines of the Diary of Anne Frank was banned at a school in Texas, just the craziest stuff. But I really want to understand, what does it mean? What does the whole book ban idea, what's happening, and what does it really mean for people that might not know, myself included? What are the ins and the outs of the book bans?
Libraries have always had a process where if somebody disagreed with a book or in the library doesn't think it should be there, they can come and talk to the librarian, and there is a process that you go through because librarians are people. We select things based on, obviously we can't read every single book that we purchase. Like one of my high schools would probably purchase around 6,000 books a year. That librarian cannot read that many books, obviously.
Sure.
So we rely on professional reviews. So there are professional journals, school library journal, book lists, things like that, where teachers, librarians, subject area experts, where they read the book in its entirety and they write a review of it. And that's how we select the books that go in the library. Well, sometimes maybe there's something in a book that it was not reflected in their review. The librarian doesn't know it's there. And, a student brings it home and really maybe it's not appropriate. We had a situation in our district where they moved sixth grade from the elementary school down up to middle school. And so we had a lot of books in our elementary libraries that were purchased for those sixth graders that are 12, 13 years old. Well, they're no longer appropriate in those schools and they need to be moved out. So maybe there was a book like that we missed.
Sure.
Okay. How bad are they for a sixth grader book? In your opinion, would you ever say this one definitely needs to be banned? Have you ever come across one where you wholeheartedly think it should be banned?
No, because banning means that somebody makes a decision that book is not appropriate and it is totally taken out and nobody gets to read it. Right. In that school. So the process, once a parent submits a complaint, they fill out this form, you put it together a committee of people. So it's not just one person deciding.
Of course.
It's a committee of teachers and parents. And if it's a high school level, some students even. And that committee reads the book in its entirety and then comes together and talks about it, whether it meets the needs of the instructional program on that campus or whether it meets the needs of the students on the campus. And so they decide together. And most of the time when that happens, when they read it, because what happens is people read one page or something and they take it out of context.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah. And if you read it in context, it makes perfect sense why that passage is in there. And there's a reason the author wrote it that way. Usually those kinds of things are left back on the shelf. So that's usually what happens. But what's happening now is a culture war, political kind of thing. The people that are really instigating these bans or these complaints are not local people that have kids that go to that school. They are political groups like Moms for Liberty, No Left Turn in Education. There's several of them, but they're very organized. They have a lot of money behind them, and they are reaching out and getting people to complain, if they're not allowed to complain in a district, because some districts have policies that only parents with kids in the school can make a complaint.
Right.
Others, it's open. Anybody can make a complaint. Well, so they're going in those districts, and they are going in. We have one district here in my area that got 80 book challenges in 1 year. And you have to put together a committee it takes time to work through all of those.
Oh my God.
And I bet all these...
She doesn't even know what to say.
I do know what
No,
to
she
say,
does.
but I'm
She's
trying
just
to
like-
not say it. But I
She's
want
trying
to
to be
ask if
polite.
these lovely women are also watching Hunting Wives. Like, are we okay
Probably.
with that, Texas? We're good with that, Texas?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
No,
they're
it's
probably
ridiculous.
Raising hell at the schools where their kids don't even go, and then going home and watching some Hunting Wives.
And
Shades drawn.
having a threesome with the priest. That's what that show's
Gross.
given up. You haven't watched it yet. No, she hasn't watched it.
not
We talked
watched
about it
it yet.
yesterday.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
will love it. It is campy
It's on my
chaos.
agenda.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So what in terms of like the book banning, what's the craziest one that you've heard? You've heard this book is banned from a bunch of high schools in Texas. Like, what's the wackiest one that you're like, that's
Well,
ridiculous?
I remember the
Diary
name
of
it. And
Anne
this is
Frank.
not even
Totally.
Diary of Anne Frank, obviously, but they didn't want to ban the actual diary. It's a graphic novel interpretation where somebody's gone in and done, art to go along.
Sure,
with it.
sure.
But
And
the
I don't really know
integrity
what
has been maintained. It's not like they made like
right. Oh, no,
superheroes
no.
out. Yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, geez.
But I can't remember the name of it, but there was one, and this was not even a high school book. This is a picture book, and it is about a kitty cat, and she's pink, and it's something to do with gender. I don't know.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's just.
And so that got banned because they're like, the
people-
children's book about gender identity, we can't possibly.
Kitty corn or something like that. Yeah.
So because the
Interesting.
kitty was identifying as female? I don't understand. Like, why was that banned? Because the cat was pink?
The kitty, no, there was a picture
Honestly,
where
don't
the
get
kitty, well, okay, the kitty was owned, I hope I have this right. The kitty was owned by two men,
Uh-huh.
and in one of the pictures, one of the dads is holding the kitty, and it was like they're grooming the kitty to.
Oh,
I don't know. It's
trans
so
cat.
far-
They're grooming the cat to be trans. I'm
I-
screaming. People
I-
are
I-
wild.
People are wild.
What
Yes,
on
people are
earth?
wild.
I
Yes.
think people are bored. Is this really? Guys, you got no other problems?
They look
Really?
for things everywhere.
They
just
do.
look. They see things that a kid would never see.
Of course not.
Would never see.
I feel
Yeah.
like that all the time because, like, think about the movies that we watched when we were little kids, and then I watch them now. I'm like, this is so inappropriate, and like this completely went over my head my entire childhood. I didn't know
We're
any
fine.
of the innuendos and stuff. Like,
No.
yeah, they're not picking up on that
And
anyway.
there's
So
the internet. The internet cannot compete with the library.
please.
Or the library can't
Right.
compete with the internet. Like,
Right.
the library is this
That's why-
tame, like, it's not a thing anymore. It's not.
Kids are not going to the
Comparable.
library to get their porn.
no.
And if they are, the library has really pivoted in the best of ways. Like, way to compete, libraries. Well, have you
Right.
heard
It's
of the
absurd.
whole Streisand effect? I'm obsessed with this. Have you?
No, I have not. I've heard
Okay.
reference to that. I was going to ask Ellen what it.
I don't know
what it
anything
is.
about this.
Well, ladies,
What
let
is
me
it?
educate you on the Streisand effect.
I mean-
It is, so after Barbara Streisand, of course. So in 2003, she sued the California Coastal Record website. They
Okay.
basically did an aerial view of Malibu, and her house was featured in this aerial view. And so she sued it because it was public record. She sued them trying to get her house removed. And in doing so, it made everybody rush to this website that nobody would have ever looked at otherwise. And so the Streisand effect is sort of like, tell me I can't watch it and I'm going to watch it. And
Absolutely.
I feel like that's what happens with these banned books. Like that list of things that are banned should also be like the Goodreads, like what to read this year list, because everybody's gonna flock to it. There's a flaw in that psychology for sure.
Lisi and I talk about this all the time. So obviously we're writing an adult click novel, and we talk about this all the time, the sanitization of everything, honestly. Like that's how I felt about especially that piece of shit show and Just Like That. I really felt like that. It was so sanitized by comparison to the original Sex and the City. It just felt very 2025 in that way of how sanitized it is. And so Lisi and I were wondering, do you see that being reflected in modern books? Like, do you feel like there is a sanitization going on with now obviously having sensitivity readers? And Lisi, do you want to explain what a sensitivity reader is? Because I didn't know about this until you told me. And I was shocked.
It's this team of people either a writer will hire separately on their own, especially if they're self-publishing, or the publisher will have people that read the books before they go out and flag anything that could offend anybody. And then the editor will go back and say, can you make these changes? And nothing makes me more pissed off. And I have gotten into so many fights with my editors about this. If it's something that is really an oversight and I never want to intentionally hurt people in just a gratuitous sort of way, I will change it. But I can honestly tell you that the ratio of no's on my part to yeses, way more no's than yeses. It just doesn't make sense. And it's people sort of looking for any possible thing that could possibly be offensive. And I find that very offensive.
Yeah, totally. So have you seen the effects of this, like in what you're reading recently?
No, I have not. It's happening like with people writing currently. I do know, and this was a huge deal a couple of years ago, that Puffin Books went back and had sensitivity readers read all of Roald Dahl's books. And they republished them. I mean, they took out a ton of stuff. I mean, sometimes like whole paragraphs are like rewritten.
Wow.
Did you know about this?
No.
Did you hear about this? And they also are doing it for Ian Fleming, the James Bond books.
Wow.
Agatha Christie. Oh, and then I also read that R.L. Stein, who wrote the Goosebumps series,
of course,
that they had done that with some of his older books, but they didn't tell him.
Ooh.
Oh. I would lose my mind. I used to get lists. I mean, before sanitizing was even trendy, I would get, when I write the earlier click books, they were all also being sold by Scholastic directly to students. And after every manuscript was turned in, I'd get another list from Scholastic that would have every single word that I had to change for the Scholastic version. So, but words like burp, fart, like stupid, playful, innocuous things.
Right.
And yet, and obviously like bitch. Okay, fine. I can get behind that one, but that's what I mean. Like, I'm fair. I get it. I'm not trying to push buttons, but in the name of like the messages I'm trying to send, sometimes we have to say certain things to get our points across and to represent the characters. But yeah, the Scholastic lists were, I should have kept them. They were genius.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. And speaking of Scholastic, like, can we just for a minute be nostalgic? The Scholastic Book Fair, like, goodbye. It was my Super Bowl as a child. I was obsessed. Okay.
Do you know how much librarians hate the Scholastic?
Oh my gosh.
Why? Talk about it. Let's go.
Just because it is so much work.
Yeah.
And kids come in with their money and it's all folded into like little tiny pieces and so many pennies. It's like your hands smell like pennies for days.
Oh my gosh.
It is just like, I mean, because you're like basically running a store.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh my God. It was like Barnes and Noble is at my school. It was incredible.
So exciting. And then I never get my books. Like, did that ever happen?
That's why we do it. Because the kids love it.
Yeah,
that's why we do it. The kids love
exciting.
it, but it is such a pain.
Is it still a thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they still do them. Okay.
Absolutely.
I thought this was like an exclusively millennial experience.
No,
I was like,
we had Scholastic. Please, this goes back.
Okay.
Way
I
back.
loved it.
Now they have like cash registers and everything. at the book fair.
Oh.
When I did a book fair, I had like a little change box, and I had
An
a
abacus?
cardboard thing, almost. Had a cardboard thing that you would look up how much the tax was, you know.
Oh my God.
But now they have a cash register that
That's nice.
I mean, these scholastic people have it so easy. They don't know.
Upgrading.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't know.
They don't know.
don't know.
Did you know I'm banned
Yeah.
in Russia, Mimi?
Well, I heard something about that.
I
Why?
Not quite sure, but there was a
the
trading
best.
house called BMM in Russia that went like the moral panic of whatever, the fear of getting in trouble right now is so massive that they pulled a bunch of titles, and the Dirty Book Club is one of them. And I'm so excited and so pissed off. And also the irony of it is so genius because it is about a group of women in the 1960s who started a book club reading dirty books in secret because it was taboo at the time. And now that actual book is being pulled, I mean, talk about a full circle moment. It's so ironic, but
Yeah,
It really
yes, I
is.
hope they have the Streisand effect in Russia so that people
maybe they will.
Your sales like go through the roof
Yeah.
all of a
they'll be
sudden
like
because
the
you're banned.
Baryshnikov effect or something.
Booksellers are like sliding it across the counter in a brown paper wrapper.
Yeah, I love it. Wait, okay, so getting back to book bans, because Lisi's banned in Russia, book bans
Banned
are
in Russia.
happening left and right, especially
Yeah.
here in our great state of Texas. And you have gone to the Capitol and testified. So talk about that. It's wild.
It's amazing.
It is wild. It's very intentional the way they run these things. You have to be at the Capitol at like 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever the hearing is scheduled to start, to register that you are there to testify. So they have committee meetings for a couple of hours in the morning, and then they go into the big session, the House and the Senate. And the further along in the session it gets, like that, when they're actually debating bills on the floor, it goes for hours and hours and hours before
yeah.
they get back into their committee meetings. So the last time I went to testify, we were there, we registered in the morning. I was there maybe 30 minutes before they said, okay, we're going to go into session and, we'll be back later. Well, it was, I think, 8 o'clock at night before they came back into the committee meeting. So we were just like hanging around all day waiting to testify. And then they did not call the bill we were there to testify, the book bill, until I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
A lot of people had left,
Oh,
which I think was their goal,
Of
Yeah.
course.
but there were several of us that were still there on both sides. There were people
librarians are badasses.
They
man.
are.
on both sides.
Getting
So
savages.
it was, I didn't testify until I think it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
You are kidding.
Yeah.
How did it go?
So-
I mean,
Yeah, what do you say? Like, walk us through it. Like, first of all, who are you talking to, and what did you say?
So I'm talking to a committee of House representatives, and I think there are like 8 or 9 of them. And it was the Committee on Public Education is who we were talking to. There are Republicans and Democrats, so there are people on both sides. I was testifying on Senate Bill 13, which did pass and put a lot of restrictions on the purchasing process of library books. Last year, as Lisi referred to, we had House Bill 900, which was more about requiring booksellers to rate the sexual content of the books that they sell, which actually was found unconstitutional and has been enjoined by the court. So it is not in effect right now.
wait, why was
But
it
anyway.
unconstitutional? Based on what?
They said it was compelled speech by the government, that the booksellers had to rate the books. It was like telling them they had to read it and they had to say what was in it. But they were like, we cannot do this. We don't have the staff. We don't have the time. We
The
don't have
resources. Yeah.
the resources to read all these
Sure.
books and give it a rating.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was in 23. In 25, we have SB 13, which requires that a school put what they want to purchase, their proposed purchase list, out for public comment for 30 days. And we fought on this, and this was a small win. They wanted to implement a school library advisory committee, which could only be parents, that school employees were not allowed to be on it. Parents, clergy, business people, those people could be on it and have a vote. School personnel could only be advisory. But we got them to make that optional. So a district can opt for a school library advisory council or no. But they also had to give feedback on the list that the librarian wants to purchase. So, I mean, they were doing everything they could to slow the process down and make it so difficult for anybody to get anything purchased. We have some really conservative districts who've already done some of this just on their own. And we had high schools the last couple of years that have not been able to purchase a single new book. So,
I mean, again, underground reading clubs. That's the answer. Secret reading clubs. Let's make it sexy. Let's go.
The problem is, though, in a lot of our communities, the district that I worked in was a Title I district, which meant that the majority of our kids are economically disadvantaged. They don't have money to buy their own books. These districts where this is happening are really more affluent, and they just say, they're just, so dismissive and say, well, if you want your kid to read a book, then buy it for them. It's just you are not in the real world. There are so many families that can't do that.
Right. It's out of touch. Right.
Yeah.
It's totally out of touch.
The library is the only place where we have what we call book deserts, where kids live in areas where they don't have bookstores. They don't have libraries. They're not. And so their school library is the only place where they can get things to read. So, it is out of touch.
It's sad. It's really sad.
And frustrating, beyond frustrating.
I mean, you're testifying at the Capitol and everything. How can the average person fight back on this issue? And how can we make change on this issue? Because it's deeply upsetting.
Yeah.
Well, of course, one thing you can do is just watch for things that are happening in your community. If you can, attend school board meetings and public library board meetings just to see what's happening. And, really, and if it's time for you to talk about public comment, don't get distracted by the actual books that they're talking about or what they're reading, because it's not really about the book. It's about trying to control what other people do. Every parent, of course, has the right to say what their own children read. They do not have the right to say what other people's children read. The point is that you don't want to let other people say what your kid can have access to.
Right.
They're taking away your right to say what your child can read. So that's really the point. It's not really about the books. It's about wanting to tell other people what to do and how to raise their families. And every book is not for every person. You're going to find a book in the library that you're not going to agree with. That's just the way it is. And so that's the kind of conversations that you want to have, whether you're speaking at public comment at a meeting, or if you're just talking to a neighbor or a friend about, I hear all this is going on. As Americans, that's part of our First Amendment freedom, is we have the right to receive the information that we need and we want for ourselves.
Right.
And so if you don't like a book, if you don't agree with it, then put it down and pick up something else. That's just not the book for you. And so if it's not for you, then you don't need to limit everybody else's access to it, because it might be exactly the book that another person needs.
Absolutely.
So just having those kind of conversations are what are important.
Do you know if there's any documented evidence that these people that are for controlling books and banning books are using to say, well, because of this book and this person read this book, they did this? Is there any direct correlation between reading content and then becoming a totally different person?
I mean, in a good way. I've seen. In a good way. There have been anecdotal. People have testified. When you are listening to all that testimony, there have been people that testify and say, "My son did this because he read it in this book." But I think it also is important for parents to have conversations with their kids about what they're reading. Talk about it. A character is doing something just abhorrent, why are they doing that? And is that something we do? It's just have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I wish books were that influential where I could write something and then control somebody else's behavior. I mean, I'd like to live in that world.
Right. Exactly. One more thing that I would say is to support your librarians and your teachers, because they are on the front lines of this and they get accosted by people all the time. I know of school librarians that have been like followed around in the grocery store by somebody calling them a groomer and a pornographer, and I know somebody that actually got spit on in a public place. So, I mean, those people are on the front. I mean, when I say the front lines, I really mean the front lines.
You guys are like the firefighters of education.
Yes.
Like
No.
you're in it for the purest of reasons.
And then I go to TLA with you and I'm like, yeah, look at this convention center of groomers. All these sweet ladies. I'm like,
With
look,
full footwear. Like,
look
what
at
is
all.
happening?
Yeah, and they're all walking around in their Rothies. Rothy is
their
the shoe
totes.
of
The
librarians. Yeah.
Free books and totes.
I'm just like, look at these pedophiles walking around this convention center. Like, come on. It's so outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, it's truly outrageous. Well, I went with you in 23 to TLA for the whole weekend. I was there for the entire thing. It was amazing. It was such an incredible event. You did such an incredible job, and all of that stuff was going on at that time, and like you handled everything with the utmost grace, and I'm just so proud, and it was amazing.
I thank you for your service so deeply,
thank you.
deeply. I mean, from my personal experience with librarians, as I've mentioned, on book tour for 25 years, to just that you are pushers of other realms and fantasy worlds and connection, and it is the most beautiful thing, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so I want to talk about like fun things, because you know me, I'm a reader. I've always been a reader. Many thanks to you, honestly. But my palate's a little limited in what I'm consuming these days. So this is Mimi's greatest talent. If anyone needs a book rec, if you tell her, I liked this, and I liked this, she will give you a list of 10 books that you will like just as much. Like, you are the best. Goodreads you are good. You're my personal Goodreads. It's the greatest.
I think Mimi needs to contribute to the Substack every season of like what we should be
totally.
reading.
I
would
Totally.
like that.
A reading list for the girlies.
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted, so I didn't read for years because I was living in New York and just being a degenerate, quite frankly. And so I didn't read for a while. And then it wasn't until Book Talk became such a thing that I started reading again. And I dare say the book that got me back into reading was Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because it was love. One of my favorite books ever.
Same.
But that was a huge book on Book Talk. And so I'm curious, have you seen a change in the way that people are reading now post Book Talk? And are you seeing a change in like what's becoming popular and saleability, I guess, because of social media in the book space?
I would say, Book Talk has good things and not so good things about it. It is encouraging people to read more, which is fantastic. As far as saleability, what's interesting is that all of those book talkers always have a physical copy.
Yes.
And so I'm seeing a lot more people purchasing physical books, I think, than they did for a while. In my district, when we implemented our digital library and started offering ebooks, and that was like 2011, at that time, ebooks were outselling print books.
Yeah.
Which is one reason that we moved to that. Another thing that's great about Book Talk is that it really encourages the community aspect of reading. You know, if you read a really good book, the first thing you want to do is talk to somebody else who's read it. It also promotes a lot of backlists, like It Ends With Us. I mean, when I first was seeing people talk about It Ends With Us, I was like, okay, I read that like 5 years ago. Why are y'all talking about this book that is all of a sudden
same with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I read that many, many years ago, and I feel like it's having its moment now.
Those were the two that I read when I got, like, those were my first two because of Book Talk. Those were the two that everyone was talking about. They were so good. Another, like, obviously Verity, and there's several. And really the one that I'm so bewildered by, but like love that for these girls. I'm not this girl, but the whole ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Crystal, my best friend, is obsessed with this series. She calls it her fairy porn. Loves it so much. And it's such a phenomenon. It's the craziest thing. But truly, the only reason I've heard of it is because of social media. Yeah. It's really wild.
And that kind of leads me into the things that I think is not so good about book talk is that the book talkers, they tend to read and recommend the same genres. And it's romance, fantasy, or romantasy, the two of them combined together. Dragon porn is what, if it doesn't have a dragon in it, they're not going to read it. So,
right.
So you don't really see much sci-fi. You don't see much contemporary fiction. You don't see much literary fiction for sure. Every once in a while you will. I saw James a lot. I saw people talking about James, which won the Pulitzer Prize last year.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all have read it.
I haven't read it, but I haven't. Yeah, it does narrow the market tremendously. And I'm seeing that in, working with publishers and selling my books to publishers is if it's not in that category, they're not as interested. And that's really unfortunate. It's very limiting.
I think what we're starting to see is that it kind of becomes formulaic. An author says, okay, this is the formula that I'm going to get, if I do this romantasy that has dragons and,
fairy porn.
Fairy porn that has this cute guy and this girl, with wings, the Iron Flame and what is it?
And then it'll take one person to, promote something outside of that genre, and then like schools of fish, like everyone will now turn in this direction, and it's like.
Well, and I really want to read. I don't know if you listened to our episode with Iman Haririkia, the incredible writer, just click historian, quite frankly. She's incredible. I think her new book sounds so compelling. Female fantasy.
It did sound good.
I'm so excited to read it. It touches on all like the fan world of that genre is really what a lot of that book is about, and the female fantasy of it all. So I'm really excited to read that book. I think it's going to be great. Okay, your Goodreads, I need to know, because every day on your Instagram, which you are my favorite Instagram follow, Obvi, because you are constantly recommending good books. How many books did you read last year? Because was last year your record? You did a lot because you were on a board.
Yeah, I did.
You had to read for a board, right?
I'm on a committee right now where we are putting together, and it's a 3-year commitment. So I'm in my second year. We are putting together a list of 25 adult fiction books that are a pleasure to read. That's our charge.
I love that.
Yeah, and so the list will come out in January. Our one last year, it was an amazing list. If I do say so myself, I can give you the link to it.
Yes,
so you can post it if you'd like. But we try to have something for everybody. We've got things for men, things for women, things for all genres. We've got sci-fi, we've got horror, we've got contemporary lit, we've got literary fiction. It runs the gamut. And we also try to feature debut authors that people might not have heard of. So it's really fun, but it does require a lot of reading.
Yes.
That when we're coming down to the wire, like the requirement is about 78 books, but I probably read 90 to 100 last year.
Dang.
I've read this year so far. I looked last night, I've read 47.
You've read 47 books in 2025 since January. I've read 47 that many?
since
47
January.
books since January.
And are these all-time books or books of like 2024 or 2025?
A couple from like late 24 through 25. Like
I'm wondering how to get on this list, Mimi, is what I'm kind of asking you.
Well,
what's the bribe in 2025? Is it 50, 100? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A gift cards? What do I have to do?
We'll just nominate it and let everybody read it. If they like it, then it can go on the list.
That's so great.
We come to consensus. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I want to end with some rapid fire questions because you are quite literally my resident tastemaker. So I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions. What's your favorite book of all time? If you had to pick one.
That is so hard.
I know.
Can't do it
like
either.
asking what, if you have children, your favorite child or whatever, but.
I could do that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I can do that.
I guess I would say probably there's a couple that I've read multiple times because I'm not really a rereader. There's too much out there to reread the same book over and over and over again. But there's a couple that I have read more than once. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, and then The Stand by Stephen King.
You love The Stand. Yes, you love The Stand. Your favorite book that you've read in 2025?
That I've read in 2025. Okay, I read it this summer. It's called The Road to Tender Hearts by Annie Hartnett. Have you heard of this one?
No.
At all? Okay. If you like the movie Little Miss Sunshine and you would like this book,
That's one of my favorite movies.
It's very quirky, very funny. It is about a 63-year-old lottery winner. He won $1 million, but he's kind of depressed. So he reads an obituary of a high school friend who was married to his high school sweetheart. So he decides he's going to drive cross country to
Oh my God.
hook back up with this high school sweetheart.
I love
This is a movie for sure.
And so right before he leaves, he is given custody of his estranged brother's grandchildren, who are like 9 and 10.
No.
So he grabs his adult daughter to help him with these kids, and they set off on this road trip across the country. Oh, and there's also a cat named Pancakes who can predict when someone is going to die.
Oh, well, no Pancakes.
So, I mean, it really, it's funny.
That's
and
wonderful.
quirky, but it really is an exploration of like grief and loss and second chances. But it's through the lens of this screwball comedy. It's just
I love it.
fantastic.
Ellen, EhMaGawd Productions needs to option this book.
No kidding. It's like Bryan Cranston's already signed on. Like, yeah, watch. Like, it's a total, like, it's already happening.
I love that.
What's your favorite children's book?
Oh my gosh.
I have one in mind. Do you know what mine is? You know what mine
It's
is.
King Bidgood's in the bathtub.
Of course.
Of course. Of course.
It's the best.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a great one.
Too. That's a great one.
You remember reading Verity a lot when we were little? We read Verity. Do you know that one, Lisi, about a snake? And Stella Luna, I remember reading a lot with you when we were little, and
We also
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum.
You love
Any of
Chrysanthemum.
these.
Her
Yeah.
name would scarcely fit on her name tag.
Chrysanthemum. She's a little mouse named Chrysanthemum. It's so cute. It's the best
So
book
cute.
ever.
What's the one with
my
the
gosh.
crayons? I remember loving that. I forget the name, but it was brilliant. That's all I remember.
Harold and the Purple Crayon?
No.
That one? The Day the Crayons Quit?
Yes!
Yeah.
I love a
Brilliant.
children's book.
They're so out there
there's so
creative.
many. How
There's
could you even say?
I know. I love the Day the
there's
Crayons
picture
Quit.
books, there's middle grade. There's
No, like
young
little
adult,
kids, little
there's
kids.
little kids, yeah.
Like-
well, I loved George and Martha,
Mm-hmm.
the hippos.
The hippos.
George and Martha. It was like a whole series.
Gosh, we read those
Yes,
a
they
lot
were
when we were little.
The best friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hippos. Those
Yeah.
George and Martha. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. That unlocked
You
something.
know what book made me want to become a writer? The book, Harriet
What?
the Spy.
Really.
The idea like that she just went around writing down observations in her spy notebook and just being able to observe human behavior and the quirks and the nuances. I would hide under the dining room table when my parents had people over with my spy notebook, and I'd write about like the hair on my grandfather's legs or the way this person twitches their feet under the table. And the world opened up to me that there are these tiny little details that say so much about a person. And I think that catapulted me into wanting to write.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Go Harriet. Yeah.
Who's your favorite author?
Well, Stephen King is probably my favorite author. Although I have a new one that I've just started reading her series, Louise Penny.
Okay.
Do you know about the Three Pines series? It is also a mystery detective series, but it's set in Canada in this tiny little town outside Toronto called Three Pines. And the way she writes about it is so atmospheric and just so you just want to go and hang out in this little town.
Wow.
It's got a little bed and breakfast and a bistro and a bookstore where the townspeople congregate. But
good times.
There's always a murder happening. So.
Okay. So this is like an October read for me.
Yeah. Yes.
Post daylight savings.
Yeah.
Although it kind of goes seasonally, like the first book is set in the fall, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But then the next one is in the winter, then the next one is in the spring, and then the summer, and it kind of goes year round like that.
So
yeah,
you love
but it's
that.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not surprised at you saying Stephen King. Something for everyone to know about Mimi. You're kind of a spooky queen. When I called you yesterday, she was seeing a scary movie in the middle of the day by herself.
Oh,
Like that's how she spends a Thursday afternoon, like post retirement. Yeah, is going to see a scary movie.
Fantastic.
Like you love spooky
After
stuff.
we finish going through the entire Click series for our book club, we should do a regular book club and
I
start
think so too.
and transition
that would be
into other
amazing.
books that
I
we're
think
reading
so,
together.
too.
And it can be Mimi's picks. I mean, Mimi will obviously be involved. You might spearhead it.
Oh, I wouldn't know what to do. Are you kidding me? I get all of my recommendations from you anyway. So I guess that's a great question is what is a book right now that you would recommend to lovers of the Click that are now, you know, in their 30s, late 20s, early 30s? What should Click lovers be reading now? What book would you recommend?
Okay, I just finished this last night.
Oh,
It's called Julie Chan is Dead.
Oh, I know about that.
And
Yes.
do you know? Okay, so
Yes.
Julie Chan is a struggling grocery store cashier. She discovers the body of her estranged identical twin sister, who is a hugely successful influencer, has millions of followers, brand partnerships, all the things. And instead of calling the police right away, Julie slips into her sister's identity. And at first, everything is great. Everything is going along well. But when you get to the final act of this book, it takes a completely bonkers turn. It's very dark, but it's in a good way.
yeah.
And it is just a really wild ride that I feel like your audience would really like.
Right.
Love it.
Let's
Julie
go.
Chan is dead. Let's do
Julie
it.
Chan is
Or
dead,
is
yeah.
she?
Or
is
is
she?
she?
Or
And
is
I
she?
think,
But it's
yeah,
a
go
really
ahead.
good examination of influencer culture, though, and what it costs to participate in it in a really entertaining story.
Fascinating.
So
I
on
love
point,
that.
because I'm
Yeah.
very, very fascinated with influencer culture right now.
I guess my last question for you is what if you had to pick one, what is your favorite library of all time?
Oh,
a good question.
That is a good question. My favorite library.
I mean, I'm so basic. Of course, mine is the New York Public Library because it's just so
Oh.
grandiose and beautiful, and I love
It is
it.
grandiose and beautiful. The Library of Congress is really cool. If you've never been, it's super cool. And you can go and get a Library of Congress card, an actual
It's kind of cool.
library card, which it also can come in handy if you forget your ID and you're trying to fly somewhere. It is considered
They
a government
accept it?
issued ID.
Stop.
Yes, they did.
That happened to you. Can you tell that story?
What a travel hack.
That
I mean,
happened.
imagine the baller that like throws that down at
Her!
TSA.
She did. She did. Tell
Tell
the
us
story.
everything. Don't leave one
Right.
thing out. This is fantastic.
It's
Well,
the
so-
best.
When I was TLA president, I was doing a lot of traveling around the state, and I changed purses and left my ID in the purse that I had before, didn't have it with me. I'm at the airport, and I'm like, I have this flight. I don't have my ID. They're like, well, do you have the credit card that you bought? And said, do you have anything with a picture on it? Any kind of picture ID? Well, I'm looking through my wallet. Oh, I have my Library of Congress library card. It
Unreal.
has my picture on it. And they said, oh, okay, that'll work.
I mean, that's something everyone should know.
Don't underestimate a library card and its powers.
Mic drop.
It can get you
That
through
is right.
TSA. Like, so on brand for you. Well, Mimi, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was such a treat. I've been wanting to talk to you about all things books, libraries, everything that's going on in this crazy state that we live in, and you're just a rock star and so fabulous and so smart, and it was just such a treat to talk to you about everything today. So thank you so much for being on the
and
show.
again, thank you for your service and
Absolutely.
Truly.
Thank
And
you
just-
so much.
lovely meeting you, Mimi. I look forward to folding you into our world on a daily.
You'll be a State of the Reunion contributor from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I
absolutely.
can't believe I hadn't even
Can
thought
do
of that
it.
before.
Yeah,
So
I know.
stupid.
Seriously, it's so lame.
So lame. Okay, so plug your socials. So where can people find you on the internet? Your Instagram.
Mary Woodard on Goodreads and Instagram. Those are probably the only two that, yeah.
You want to be on her Goodreads, trust me.
Yeah, you're going to see a flood of followers. Incoming.
Yay, that's good.
Stand by.
That's good. Well, and in anticipation, my Instagram was private, but I opened it back up because I had to make it private during all that craziness. People were like
bombarding you.
Yeah, and saying bad things. And I had to make it private for a while. But I think maybe now that I'm retired and not actually working anymore, not involved in TLA as much,
right?
I think,
You're back
people
open
find
to the
another
public.
Find another cause to bully. This should not be it, guys.
Right.
Put your evil intentions somewhere where we need them. There are many, many places I can publish a list, but this is not one of them.
Exactly.
This is not it.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for coming
Thank you,
today.
Mary.
We love you so much.
Very
All
That
right.
was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.